Good afternoon. Brad, you with us?
I'm here. I'm here.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Great to see you. Looking forward to today's chat. Let's just going to quickly do a technical review, make sure, yeah, we have attendees coming in. So yeah, welcome everybody. It's great to be here. Cool to see so much interest in our topic. I think we've got a good one. Agentforce, obviously a lot of buzz in the ecosystem. Salesforce, business value, business outcomes, and there are some key requirements to do it successfully. One of them being an accurate and effective data dictionary. And so, really cool topic. Clearly, a lot of interest given the folks that are joining us today. In terms of flow, so we're going to keep it very conversational. We'll try to keep this to about 30 minutes. Hit all the key points that we think that are valuable based on the conversations we have with our customers and in the market. We will keep it interactive. So I will try to monitor the Q&A. And while we love Brad, and Brad has a tremendous amount of value, Brad also likes to answer questions. So as he sparks a nerve and you want to flow on, or us to flow on the topic in a little bit more depth, we'll try to capture as much as we can. Again, trying to keep this to about 30 minutes. And yeah, so without further ado, Brad, for those that don't know you, who are you? Why are you here? What
Yeah.
informs your perspective?
Man, a few things, but yeah, excited to be here. Thanks, Brian. It's interesting, we've had our data dictionary for a while now within our Sonar platform, but it just recently, over the last even months, maybe quarters so far, seen a lot more interest in it, mainly because of a lot of the AI pieces that are coming in to every software, but most importantly to our good friends over at Salesforce. And so, yeah, wanted to jump in with you. I thought this was a great idea to jump in. We'll share a couple of nuggets that we've learned over the years. Funny enough, there's a couple of slides in here from a presentation I did at DevOps Streaming up in Chicago, I think in 2022, when we first released our data dictionary. But as always, times changed, technology changed, and the use for this type of platform and functionality has certainly changed. So excited to dive into it. Also love seeing a couple of familiar faces in the attendee group. So welcome everybody, ready to rock and roll.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Let's get into it. So at the basic level, if we progress forward and let's start at the foundational level. What is a data dictionary? And maybe we'll start there. Brad, what is a data dictionary? And maybe while you're doing that, we'll kick off a poll to see how the audience would describe their data dictionary. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely. So, being asked this plenty of times over the year, there's probably a myriad of different definitions. But essentially, it is a data repository for your systems, of your systems and all of your data points that your team, both technical and non-technical, can leverage to make sure that they know what's going on within your organization. I think between that definition, I counted about 7 or 8 buzzwords. So we'll dissect those and understand exactly what they mean. But when you really start to think about it, this functionality and this technology has been around well before we introduced it. I'm certainly not going to be bold enough to say that we pioneered what data dictionaries are. In fact, this technology has been used many times over the years, especially in the software engineering world. So if you speak with any traditional software engineers, you're going to hear them using bigger, probably more longer term technologies like Elation or Calibra or Sakota. These are all mostly top tier data dictionaries on the engineering side. As we all know in this Salesforce ecosystem, most of us aren't engineers or most of us aren't developers. You're going to look a lot towards the admins, towards the RevOps, the business systems folks. And so our goal when we were originally creating this was to make sure that, one, it was user friendly. Two, we're meeting our customers where they want to be met. We'll get into a couple of examples of the evolution of our data dictionary, how we built it, who we partnered with from a customer design partner perspective. But yeah, the technology itself has been around for a while, or the use case for it has been around for a while. I think as we continue to see this evolution in the Salesforce ecosystem, it's clear we adopt a lot of best practices from traditional software engineering. And this is certainly one of those right here in front of us. Now that we're also seeing outside of data dictionaries, we're seeing deployment tools, we're seeing other ways and best practices that we're pulling from that group and putting it into our ecosystem, this just being one of them. Brian,
100%.
I'll pass it
Yeah,
back
no,
over to
and
you.
I think what's unique about Salesforce is, Salesforce was a CRM, and today Salesforce is whatever you've decided to make it, right? And so the importance of a data of understanding how you're using it and understanding how you've customized it, is ever more important than it was 20 years ago. And independent of Agentforce, even whether you're on the leading edge of that or not, understanding how you're using Salesforce and the various data elements, the sensitivity, the business operational purposes is unique to the way that Salesforce has evolved. But yeah,
Absolutely.
so what about Agentforce, Brad? What is Agentforce? For
Man, I
those
might
that
be.
don't know, I mean,
No, I'm not going to do the cliche. I don't know, or I'm not sure yet. But Agentforce is unique. I think we're all seeing it and trying to understand exactly what that is as well. Just real quick, when looking at our poll right now, and thank you all for answering and jumping in. About 95% answered no, that they're not necessarily using a data dictionary or it's not in the best place. So you've come to the right spot to learn a lot more about it and how to couple that up with Agentforce. Um, I'm not going to be as bold to say that Agentforce is the end all be all of AI technology. I'm not sure Uncle Mark would agree with me, but it's certainly an AI powered platform that's helping us understand how to do our jobs faster, how to do things a lot more efficient, and also have access to data within prompts instead of us as end users needing to do a ton of research. Let me Google this, Command F that. We want to make sure that we're efficient with that. Just as a very quick sidestep to this, I think I get this question asked more often than maybe I expect. But anytime I start having AI conversations, people are always in a camp of, man, well, how do I future-proof my job? If this agent might be taking my job, what's the use for me? And that stems across many different personas: AE, SDR, CSMs, executives. I certainly wouldn't say anybody's immune to it, but I'll see if I can do my best to quote or to remind myself of what Sam Altman said one time about this, because he's clearly been asked probably not even a million, probably more times than that. What is AI and how do we make sure that it's not going to take my job? And he kind of uses a really cool example. I don't think we all got to witness this personally, but I think we're all familiar with the Industrial Revolution and understanding that, hey, look at this. We can start using machines now instead of just our pure brute strength and muscles. We can fast forward to today's time. Yes, we're now leveraging machines in a similar capacity, but look at that. We're all still here. Humans are still behind this and leveraging this at its core. And so, if there's anything to de risk today, I hope nobody feels like their job is in peril or at risk from being replaced. But Sam's second point to that, I think it's a great way to segue into Agentforce. It does become sort of a dog eat dog world. And why we're wanting to be at the forefront of this to educate our customers and our attendees here is to make sure that you know how to leverage this so that you are actually able to use all these AI technologies, especially Agentforce, but more importantly, that you're up to speed with the right technologies. Because again, there's no fear right now in my mind of any bots or agents taking our jobs. But if we don't know how to leverage them the right way, somebody who does know how to leverage this type of technology might. And so if you
100%.
need to future proof, there's your future proof. But what is Agentforce? In the simplest
100%.
form? Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Brian. I'll pass it
Yeah,
back over to you on
no.
that.
No, yeah, 100%. Yeah, so maybe if we drill into that a little bit, Brad. So, whether it's Agentforce or other AIs, what makes the data dictionary so important? Like, why is it so essential?
Totally. So just to put the cap on the Agentforce piece up, I think everybody's seen enough of it so far. It's essentially building prompts within your CRM or to your end users that are allowing them to get that access to data faster. I think everybody here knows, and I know my good friend Ian on here has certainly been jumping deep into this stuff. Really what that boils down to on the back end of this is very, very flow heavy. I think everybody's already kind of seen that. And so if you're not a expert at flow right now, totally fine. If there was anything that I would strongly suggest, man, I'd open up Trailhead or any other place that you can learn and just roll your sleeves up and immerse yourself in it. Because ultimately, that is a lot of the back end and the backbone of what Agentforce is. I'll answer Brian's question as to why this is important right now and so essential. Now, with using new technologies, interior to Salesforce or exterior, we have a lot more access to data. And we've had this question asked many times by both enterprise customers, SMB customers, and everybody in between. How do I know what data is being sent place to place, point A to point B? And we obviously have some of our newer features that are helping to see that sort of system overview and tech stack diagram to see that transition of data. But just as important, if my data is going from point A, Salesforce, to point B, this other application, does this have any AI over here? How do I diagnose that? How do I document that? And I think that's where we're seeing a lot of our customers now come into the picture of almost purposefully using their data dictionary to align what their AI strategy is. Brian, you've been on a call with one of our customers that's local here in Atlanta. They have a whole new initiative now to not only build their normal go-to-market tech stack, but they're building their AI tech stack as well that really helps their CIO, their CISO understand, do we have any risk? Is data being processed here or there? And so if you zoom out of all that, I know that was long-winded, and take one thing away, it's that we have more access to data now and more places that it's going. And if we don't have a centralized, aligned place where we can define that technology, we can put stakeholders, owners behind it, and classify what that data risk assessment might be, we're a world of hurt for some type of audit, or anytime an executive might ask, where's this data going and who has access to it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think, the data dictionary, historically, you would think of the data dictionary as really driving to the business outcomes. And it's critical for driving the Agentforce business outcomes, is because you have your Salesforce environment's got multiple fields. It's been customized. You may have 3 or 4 fields that serve the same purpose, quote unquote, but actually serve very different purposes. And if you feed the engine the wrong fields because of a lack of the business functionality in your data dictionary, that's a problem. And it's also a problem if those fields shouldn't be exposed to the LLMs at all, or Agentforce. So there's two different ends of the spectrum as it relates to the business outcomes and the operational or security risk. And I think that's where, if we think about, like, without a data dictionary, what are the pitfalls? And yeah, maybe we double click into that a little bit, Brad. So I'd say I started to work with Agentforce. Don't have the data dictionary. What's gonna happen?
Yeah, I think the biggest question that we've been asked so far in that vein is, if I'm allowing our systems to create prompts, react to prompts, and anywhere in between, I think it's critically important to understand what that data is how that data is being used and where it's coming from. And so when you really start to think about, again, at a granular level, I know we've got a pretty technical audience here that hopefully is staying with me. When we look at the fields or any of the actions that are within nodes, we deeply need to understand, if that field is now going to be used in a new prompt through Agentforce, I need to critically know that. There's part of this too. We already have a lot of the tracking mechanisms just natively within Salesforce, and we track a lot of other things that Salesforce doesn't. But when you start to think about your data quality, you really want to know, is this data point that is now in my CRM being answered by one of my end users or by one of the agents that I built? And neither are a wrong answer or a right answer, but it's just more important for you to basically know where this data is coming from and who's actually going to be putting it into play for our customers or for our internal users.
100%. Yeah, that's and there was a question about that's about the chat. So if you've got the chat's not enabled, but the Q&A is enabled.
Yeah.
And
yeah, if you have any questions or just thoughts, feel free to drop them in the Q&A. We'll look at it just like it's the chat.
pop them in there. But so if you were to kind of drill down into that, Brad, like, what makes a data dictionary? I know 90% of the folks on the line said they didn't have a lot of confidence in their data dictionary. Like, what makes a data dictionary good or great, as the slide says, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the one thing our customer success team, Patrick especially, has done a phenomenal job with, and I don't want to steal his thunder, but I'm certainly going to give him a high five for this. This is his quote, not mine. Your data dictionary is not a one size fits all for the entire company. And if you break that down, the way that he coaches it so well to our customers is you should know who your end persona is using this data dictionary well before you build it. And a great example of that would be for your internal your internal Salesforce team, very technical resources, folks that know the difference between an API name and just a field label. You have the right to make sure that you put those columns and those data points in there to that audience. On the flip side of that, I highly doubt, not picking on anybody's finance team, that they care that much about the API names or the syntax of a validation rule or what is triggering what between this flow or Apex class. That's a little too technical, and that audience doesn't fit that mold. And so the biggest thing that I think that makes it great is keying in on your persona of who it is that's actually going to be seeing this and go from there. Because you'll quickly realize, does this column give them the right business context? Does it have the right answer for what they need? Maybe, maybe not. Part of this question, what makes a great one and maybe not so great one, is how do you track that sort of ROI behind that? We'll get into the use case here in a second of our design partner and how they thought about this. But ultimately, everybody here, if you're in the admin world, the RevOps world, business ops, security, doesn't really matter. You know the impact it has on you when a fire happens or somebody distracts you or slacks you into the Salesforce is on fire Slack channel that says, "Hey, Brian, help me answer this question. I can't find what I'm looking for." Great way to start leveraging your data dictionary. Pin the link to it. We have the shareable link within Sonar that you can actually pin this, whether it be in your Slack channel, you can embed it in Confluence or Guru or Notion. Pick your poison. We can work with all of them. But providing your customers being internal customers likely for you, with access to it well before they have to jump into that Slack channel or send you an email or messenger pigeon or anything in between, you want to make sure that they have access to it the right way.
The messenger pigeon, they still use that?
They're not as effective.
Yeah, Agentforce with the messenger pigeon is quite a combination. And maybe, and I see the question came in, but thinking about kind of what are the data elements that go into data dictionary. So let's say you have different personas, and the question that but different personas care about different things, and you have a set of data elements like your help text, your description, your sensitivity, your compliance. Like, how do you marry those two? And the question that came in was related to supporting the personas without creating double work.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and click answer live on that. So the short answer is yes and no. And I'm not going to be cliche and say it depends on your business. But the reality is the data points behind a single line item. So let's think about, we're on the opportunity object and we'll pick a couple of fields: opportunity stage, ARR, and contract length. Those three fields, I'm sure everybody in the business, whether you're in finance or you're Salesforce admin or anywhere in between, need to know who the stakeholder is, who the actual owner of that field is. Owner can be what you need it to be, whether you're the true owner of that field. If anybody needs to configure that field, they need to come ask you permission first. That's a great way that we emphasize it, but that's not the only way. It could be your true business owner. We've seen CROs be labeled as the owner of opportunity stage because they manage the entire customer lifecycle, or at least the sales cycle for that. And so you don't necessarily have to create new definitions and stakeholders and owners. Those will all flow across each data dictionary view. What I would suggest is build those views for each persona. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a person. You could have a full-on sales data dictionary view, marketing data dictionary view. And those, in my lovely hand-wavy Venn diagram, those overlap. You're going to have those fields that each team or each person is going to use, but they're also going to be available for everybody across those selective views.
Yeah, and I think if you were to, I think we actually have an example here, and I think that gets a lot harder when you're using spreadsheets, kind of asynchronous offline spreadsheets, right? Because I picture to that question that came up, you picture a worksheet with multiple tabs, one for marketing, one for finance. That's very difficult when you're using spreadsheets, right?
Totally. Well, I think we all know the reality of spreadsheets. You can do this. This was certainly the design side of what we were working on with our customer 6sense at the time. They helped us build this. I think their data point behind this, or their ROI statement, was they were spending roughly 40 hours a month keeping this up to date. And you can see across the bottom of that, leads, contacts, accounts, all the way down to validation rules and page layouts. They were keeping this manually. And so anytime somebody would make a change on day one, they would come in and put this change in there. That is probably the most inefficient way that I could really think of it, of using that. And so what we did, kind of piggybacking off this, I think the next slide is going to be our look and feel of it. Yes, is taking our standard technology, what we've built from day one, tracking all the changes that are happening on a day in and day out basis, and be able to keep those reference counts in there, especially how often a field is being used in a flow versus a page layout and things like that. And so just the design element and being able to keep it dynamic has already saved them tens of hours per month on being able to do this. I think they said they reduced that 80 or 40 hours down by like 80%. And so you can imagine having this not as a manual task, but an automated task is perfect. Oh, dude, we got some great questions in here, Brian.
100%. Yeah. Do you, and I just want to be cognizant of time. Why don't we, if maybe we flow on the questions. We've got about 7 minutes, and kind of we'll see how many we get through, and obviously available offline or via LinkedIn or others. But go ahead, Brad. Yeah, can you see them, or do you want me to read them out?
No, I can see them over here. I got them on another screen. So,
right.
How can we more on how we can automate our data dictionary, please, especially on how fields flow from point A to point B? Great question. So I'll preface that by saying we have two versions of our system overview. And this is going into a little bit more of how we look at the go-to-market technology that we have all hooked into our Salesforce. So if you're a customer right now of Salesforce that is leveraging the Shield package, mainly the event monitoring API, which is within the Shield package, you can buy that as a package, or you can buy it as a single one-off line item. But that technology is actually helping us watch the API calls go from point A to point B. We can do that in our data dictionary, and we can do that within our audit reviews and our system overviews. So we can jump on more time, or we can at least jump on and show you that more live. Today's a lot more conversational, but the biggest piece for that is there's columns within the data dictionary that say ingested by and populated by. And so within that tabular view that we've created, you can see, yes, definitively, opportunity stage is being read by and then also populated by a specific system. And you'll see the logo of that system in one of those columns. Would love to jump on and actually show you a full demo of that anytime anybody wants. All right, I'm going to start.
I'll cover that one for you, Brad. We're always here if anyone wants the meeting to go deeper.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's flow on. We got a few more here.
Totally.
Great, go
I got a good one about government cloud. Does Sonar work in the environment? And is there anything we need to know about compliance, governance that applies in our sector? Everybody has a different compliance posture. So, and I certainly don't want to speak to the state of Vermont and speculate what their posture looks like, but we certainly work with all clouds within Salesforce. So the connectivity will be there from our side on the compliance. We check almost every acronym soup that you have underneath. So CCPA, GDPR, everything in between, SOC 2, we have all of those. There are certain government customers of ours that we already have, especially in the education side, but also a few that are in the greater Baltimore, Maryland, DC area. So certainly applicable. I just don't want to overstate every company has their own posture. And so, but I can have a lot of confidence saying that, we work with Cisco and a lot of larger public banks and things of that nature. So we haven't really been told no yet, but would love to do that on a one-off basis just to make sure that we got you covered. Oh, my good friend Ian Stewart. All right, can I track aliases within the dictionary? For example, multiple portfolio companies operating under one org. I know, like companies call a banana, company B, call it fruit. I see where you're going with this. You can certainly have multi orgs. Let me take a step back. Within one Sonar instance, you can have multiple Salesforce orgs. We're only going to look at what those orgs are actually calling those aliases. We can't see that type of metadata or that data in there. So the short answer, Ian, is yes, but I also have a half-written response to you in my inbox that I need to finish up. So you and I can jam on that offline, and we'll catch up for sure. But the short answer is yes.
Yeah, Brad, maybe we got room for about one more. And I know there's a bunch that have come in. We can take them offline.
Yeah.
I just want to be
There's
cognizant of
one.
everyone's time.
Totally. There's one that just touched on AI insights that I wanted to bring in. And so perfect one. And apologies for anybody that we didn't get to. We've got the questions. And if it was an anonymous attendee that wrote it, hard for me to get back a hold of you, but feel free to shoot us an email or Slack us in WizOps or LinkedIn. Happy to jam on that. But the question is, what are some examples of AI insights that Agentforce can provide for our data dictionary that we can't get from our Sonar data dictionary today? That is a great question. And so just as a refresh for the folks that might not know about the AI capabilities we have in our data dictionary, we're already fully connected through GPT-4o from our good friends over at OpenAI. Funny enough, we were in their office the other day building their data dictionary inside of OpenAI, which is really cool to do. But the AI functionality that will be coming from the Sonar side that will give insights to Agentforce is around the corner. Candidly, it's such a new technology. It's kind of hard for us to put too much into place right now of how to analyze specific prompts, how to analyze specific data moving in and out. However, based on the flows that are being built for the agents themselves, we can still analyze what those flows are. And for anybody that builds big, massive, gnarly flows in Salesforce, I know they can be cumbersome. When you look at that long string of decision tree going on, it can be hard to understand even what the heck that thing is doing. We do have our AI functionality being able to summarize what those flows are doing and put those into normal language. So you can share that with end users that might not be technical or new Salesforce team members that are joining your team that, hey, look, we've got 48 active flows and 72 Apex classes. I don't know which one's doing what. We have a summary functionality that we can summarize those pieces for you so that you can educate your team faster. So great.
Amazing. Yeah.
Cool.
And yeah, just want to be cognizant of everyone's time. We did have a bunch of questions that we didn't get to. And yeah, we'll follow up with those that are looking for more information. And yeah, thanks for joining us. It's been a bit, and great to collaborate and talk through highly relevant topic. And Brad, closing remarks. So what should someone do next if outside of meeting with Sonar and calling Brad? What should someone do next?
Yeah, I certainly stay curious. There's enough communities and they're getting better. And I say they, as in Salesforce right now, are getting better about the documentation and a lot of the ways that we can learn about it. I don't want to call it harsh reality, but just the fact of matter right now, this is still a new technology that Salesforce is implementing. So I think we all take this from a 2025 perspective. It's technology. It might not be fully baked yet. So be a little patient, but leverage Salesforce for sure. Even if you don't have premium support, still knock on your AE or CSM's door there. They are all being educated as we speak as well. But ping anybody within our community as well. Ian and I go way back. I know he's in there all the time helping people answer questions. And so there's a lot of bright folks. We're going to do more webinars coming up in the future about this. We have a couple of customers that I'm not going to mention their names yet, but are doing the same type of design effort with Salesforce right now on how to be a better Agentforce user. So start to think of all those lovely banners you see at Dreamforce with people with their golden hoodies on saying, I'm an Agentforce Pro. We have a couple of our customers right now that are going through those works. So we're going to get them on a webinar with us relatively soon so they can start sharing their experience with it as well.
100%. And that community, for those folks that, if you don't already know, it's called Wizard of Ops. Definitely a lot of value, a lot of expertise, focus on helping you be successful in your business. So that's the community, and follow us. If we can help, let us know. We'll be at TDX. And Brad, thanks for the time.
Always
Good
happy to jump in.
Yeah. And everyone enjoy the rest of the afternoon or morning, depending on where you're based.
For sure. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it, everybody.
Thanks, Brad.
Have a great day. Talk soon.
All right, be good, everyone.